It's so great to have Taki have some kind of weird perspective that Kobayashi is some sort of Yakuza member with some weird fetishes. But yeah, I just got done with the 8th episode of Miss Kobayashi Dragon Maid, so let's jump into it. So yeah, a lot of cute little moments in this episode. Sadly, wasn't as much focus on Ilulu as I'd wanted to, but we still got a good chunk of it towards her. But it kind of opened up with Shota. Essentially, it's Father's Day coming up, and he's trying to create a talisman for his father as a gift. Really cute. Luca trying to help him out with it, but obviously he wants to handle it himself. Though it seems like Luca has some kind of weird... I guess it's that whole aspect of one word kind of sounds similar to another one, so she believes that instead of saying Father's Day, Chi-Chi, she thinks that he's talking about tits. So entire time she's getting a wrong perspective of exactly what's happening, and it doesn't seem like anybody, including Kobayashi, wants to explain it to her. But it was really kind of funny. At one point, Kobayashi asks Toru if talismans really do work, and she's like, nah, it's just really kind of more psychological, because usually whenever humans come to us and use them, they end up burnt up along with the humans. So yeah, that doesn't really quite work out. But they do explain the idea that, yeah, technically, if there is some kind of imbuing of magic in it, it can have certain properties. And that's essentially what Shota kind of shoots for as he goes online and uses his magical password to get into some website to buy a bunch of stuff. Fails miserably several times, and that's in the point in which he kind of seeks out help from Makoto and Fafner. This is a really weird way to put it, but I guess it makes sense to me. Makoto's kind of explaining it like, you know, you have to take this whole process as similar to like a game maker and how they create a world with rules. You have to take the kind of the side, the perspective of the creator to kind of get a sense of what kind of things they lay out for their players and the rules that they kind of place in there and I guess the struggles that they kind of place into it. So Shota takes this perspective and puts it into the grimoire that has the explanation of what to do. And that's when he kind of realizes, oh yeah, by the way, this book was made, you know, written over here. So obviously the temperatures and pressures are different. And so he kind of modifies it and then he finds success. So really cute. See him giving the gift to his father, getting some kind of acknowledgement from his father that he's, you know, he's progressed. He's getting better at his craft, and that kind of acknowledgement from his father is all he's really seeking. So it was really cute in the end to have Lukua kind of embrace him as he's a little bit proud of himself. Really, really cute little scene. It was kind of funny having Lukua ask him, you know, how he pulled it off, and he's explaining it, and he like stops himself and says, no, I can't explain it to you, devil. Can't give up his trade secrets. And it kind of caps this whole thing with Kana bringing massage tickets to Kobayashi. And she's like, wait, it's Father's Day and you don't see me as a mother? And he's like, no. Poor Kobayashi. We just got done with a whole segment this season about her, you know, insecurities about wearing cute clothes. And then here comes Kana treating her like a dad. She doesn't know better. The next segment we have is where Kobayashi gets a cold. This, the dreaded anime/Japanese debilitating cold. The cold that literally knocks you off your feet and paralyzes you. I seriously, to the day... I think at some point in our podcast, we had a friend in Japan, and we had asked them about, like, is this a thing in Japan that we're just not aware of, that we've never seen before? Like, it always seemed like Japan and their, I guess at least their anime and their manga really depict colds as being extremely debilitating, which I understand for, like, an elderly person, but, you know, middle and younger age, it doesn't really make any sense, but yeah, anyways, Kobayashi is completely debilitated, unable to move, gets dragged into her bed by Toru. And this was kind of it was funny because at some point she asked her, like, do dragons deal with colds? And she's like, nah, there's nothing that's going to be able to survive in my body. But yeah, it was a really cute little scene because it's like this aspect of Toru really becoming fearful of losing Kobayashi. And I was really curious at what point they would kind of establish this storytelling. Obviously, they did address in the first season the concept of why they avoid the humans and this idea that they don't last long. I mean, even Ilulu, when she first came into this season, that was the perspective. We don't, really associate with humans because they're not going to last long. What's the point? It's just going to be heartache. Their lifespan is but a blink of an eye to us. And this is, again, another point in which Toru is facing this. Like, what if she does die? I've experienced villages being taken out by epidemics. This is something that I could lose Kobayashi. And this eventually drives him to... At first, she kind of questions a bunch of people. what she should do. Like she says, she took the pills, she's sleeping. What else can I do? And yeah, everybody she asks are terrible, except for Lukua. Lukua has obviously probably dealt with taking care of Shota, but yeah, Ilulu's like, why don't you feed her bricks and coal? She's like, she's not an oven. And then Fafner and Makoto. I think Fafner was like, no, I didn't. She didn't ask Makoto. She just asked Fafner, and Fafner's. Well, Makoto originally said, just to, just nurse her, take care of her. But Fafner's like, I'm used to, cursing humans, not really curing humans, so I don't know. And then finally, Lukua was like, yeah, do this. Give her something that's easy to digest, and that's when she makes some crazy concoction out of whatever, which was really cute because Kobayashi, like, forces herself to eat it because she doesn't want to let her down. But maybe that was exactly what ended up curing her. That crazy concoction created was what cured Kobayashi. We may never know. Yeah, it was cute seeing her kind of wiping down Kobayashi, that kind of sense of nurturing that she was doing for her. And then eventually to the point where she's like, I gotta go find a cure. That humans have died from so many of these kind of epidemics. I need to take care of her. So she runs off to the other world. She says there's a thing that will make her immortal, but Kobayashi would get mad if she used that, so she's got to find something else. And eventually she finds these little pills, but Kobayashi's already cured, and so Kobayashi takes it, just to make her feel good, because she comes in like all wrecked and just wants to help Kobayashi, which is really, really adorable. But yeah, these pills, she swallows them, and then, like, not even, a little bit later, she suddenly has cat ears and whiskers and is playing with this little thing with Kana. So yeah, we got this season. We've gotten male Kobayashi, we've gotten Maid Kobayashi, and now we have cat girl Kobayashi. So we're doing good right now. We're really having a lot of fun with Kobayashi. And that's when we wrapped up the episode with a little story with Ilulu. Essentially, she's working at the candy store. They end up discovering this doll that was left behind, and they try to go around trying to find somebody that knows who the owner is, because nobody comes by after a day. And this eventually leads to, even though Take's like, why don't we just give it to the police, or, why would we bother? They'll eventually come back. Obviously, Ilulu is very pushed by this, and I did recall immediately the fact that they did have a scene early on in the season with Ilulu getting a doll from a human just prior to the humans themselves turning on the dragons and them basically being separated. So obviously this was something that was important to her. This doll in her mind was important. Now, we didn't get a perspective earlier exactly the whole story behind that, which we do here, so that was really cool to get. But yeah, it was a huge kick because they can't find them locally. They're asking a bunch of kids, and then eventually she calls for help with from Kobayashi. Is where I meant, like, I got a huge kick out of, I guess, what viewpoint Take has of Kobayashi. She's like, oh, so this is this Kobayashi she keeps talking about. And then he gets to look at this blonde-haired maid behind her, and she's like, who's this blonde-haired maid behind her? Is this something that she forced her to wear? And then she whispers in Lulu's ear, like, can't you just change your ability to sense of smell, and you could just, follow the trail? And she's like, oh, yeah, I can do that. So she jumps on the ground like a dog, and so Taki thinks that she's forcing her to act like a dog. And that, like, gets compounded later on when she randomly just shows up on the back of Toru, and you can't see her, and she just pops up out of nowhere, and then this maid comes up behind with an umbrella. He's like, who is this? Like, talking about all these little connections and all these people she contacted, and it's just it was really funny. Just that, like I said, that whole idea of her being some kind of crazy yakuza or some kind of evil mastermind that just has control over a lot of people. So good. But yeah, this whole thing was cute. Just seeing Ilulu kind of just looking everywhere, following the scent. Eventually, the rain starts pouring, and she just kind of starts trying to shield the doll because she doesn't want the rain to push away the scent, and him showing up with the umbrella and kind of trying to keep her encouraged. And then it got kind of given that perspective of, yeah, at some point she did get this doll from this human, and they were really good friends, and the whole happened between the humans and the dragons, and she, it was kind of given to us through the previous flashbacks and the idea that the dragons eventually said, no, you can't be friends with these anymore. And so she discarded this doll. She gave it up. She can't be connected to the humans anymore. So she gave up the doll and walked away, but she always regretted it. She always wished that she could go back. And this is compounded when she finally goes to this owner, because they find out the owner through this shop that custom made it, and that actually they note that this girl brought this in on regular lease to maintenance, so she wanted to take care of this doll. And eventually finds this home, and the girl's like, yeah, I'm in high school now. My friends make fun of me, and so I had to get rid of it. I was hoping somebody else would take it, and I regret it. She herself regretted it, and she's like, well, just tell it welcome home. So it was really cute little scene. Just that aspect of it's kind of like the Toy Story thing, you you gotten too old, you got to get rid of the old child in you. But for a lot of people, I mean, even me, I have, amongst all this anime and stuff like this, I have one little spot on my shelf that has these few dolls that were really important to me. One that was when I was a really young kid and I got in a bad accident and my mother got me this doll. Just these things that you had from a childhood that kind of have that sentimental feeling. It's not that you grow out of it. You don't just throw it away. It always has that meaning. It always has that symbolism of the nurturing nature of your family, the gift that was given to you. And it's important. It's more than just the doll. It's the meaning behind it. It's the memories. It's the love that was behind it. So really cute to have that there. I'm really hoping at this point, I was really kind of curious if at some point, maybe at the very end, maybe Kobayashi or somebody would maybe Take would ask Kobayashi, like, do you know about this doll that she had? Just to get some kind of sense that maybe somebody will eventually either, find a duplicate of it or track it down somehow. It would have been really sweet, but just bittersweet, I guess, in the end. And yeah, we close. Instead of getting that question from Take to somebody about who this doll is, instead we get Ilulu popping out of nowhere and saying, hey, you were in the rain too. Come in the bath with me. And she's butt naked running through the house. More edgy from Ilulu. She just doesn't know. And everybody watching going, dude, just go. You've been invited. And yeah, and then of course they have this whole scene with Ilulu making a Take doll and placing it somewhere comforting. And again offering him that he can go in there if he wants to. Oh man. But now this didn't end yet. The big cool thing that happened at the end of this episode, even though the entire episode was fantastic, the great thing that happened at the end of the episode is we get a quick shot in the previews of Elma. And the title is something like there are various reasons behind it. And in parentheses, it's full of Elma. I don't know if that's the reason behind it is Elma or if it's saying that, hey, by the way, this is Elma. We got tons of Elma in this episode. Which again, big, huge fan of Elma. I'm going to be super excited for that. Hopefully I don't get just teased or tricked like I usually do. And it doesn't really end up being... Because it usually seems like a lot of these episodes are 3-segmented. So it always seems like you get maybe like a third of an episode to one character. So... either way, I'll be super happy about it. I always love it. Oh, I forgot to mention when Toru first called up Makoto and was asking him about Kobayashi, you could see Elma in the background panicking. Again, I guess similar to Toru, she probably has the same perspective. Like, we don't deal with colds, but we've always known epidemics and stuff to wipe out entire villages back in our homelands, and so. Even with Elma, she's flustered. We've seen how much she cared for Toru in the time where we had that whole segment of her, trying to tell Kobayashi to not push herself to become this pillar that eventually ends up in her death. So it was really cool to see her in the background having that sense of dread and fear for Kobayashi. It was really cute. Yeah, great episode as always. Episode 8 of Miss Kobayashi Dragon Maid S. Hope you guys enjoyed my impressions of the episode. If you did, leave a like down below. Comment, let me know what you thought of the episode. Subscribe if you haven't already. Share this video if you can. Support us on Patreon if you can. And y'all take care.